Combo Cabal, we are back and we are playing Pioneer Lotus Combo. I'll be honest, I haven't played this deck in 3 weeks, maybe even a month. It's been a hot second. This list is inspired by Ryan Malagora. It's mostly Ryan's list. We work on the deck together, but Ryan has been carrying the torch recently. Ryan played something similar to this in a prelim about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'm just now getting around to trying it. The truth is, I've just been so busy with other content creation stuff and donation decks that I haven't gotten around to playing Pioneer. So if you want to see more Pioneer, you can always do your own donation deck for it. But today we're playing Rug Lotus. One of the adjustments in the main deck is no Yavimaya Coast. We're trying 4 Bark Channel Pathway over it because they don't deal us damage. The risk associated with that is if you needed to play a green source on turn 1, like, I don't know, for some reason you want to go blue into green or green into blue, you have that shut off. So if you end up with like a Blast Zone, Thespian Stage, Bark Channel hand, you have to choose between blue or green. Sometimes it happens, it's pretty rare, but hypothetically it can matter. And then 1 copy of Bergie. We decided that Valakut Awakening is slightly better, but I do think the third copy, or the first copy of Bergie is better than the third copy of Brawl, in my opinion. Just that extra engine card is worth it. Less dead mid combo as well. And one of the best things about these 4 cards is that they convert dead cards into live ones. So additional copies of Lotus, um, Sylvan Scryings, Grazers. But in post-board games, these 4 copies of Leyline of Sanctity. You might be wondering why those are there. It's mostly for the black decks that have become popular over the last month or so. So the red-black Dread Horde deck, but also just mono black aggro. It stops things like Slaughter Games or Unmourned Ego. There's another one. It's 3 mana. I can never remember the name of it. It happened in another video too. It's just 1 black, and then you get zombies. But they're all the same card. So it stops all those, and out of mono black aggro, it stops Thoughtseize and Duress, and the one that has Spectacle. I can't think of the name of that one either. Card names are difficult. Please forgive me. But in theory, Leyline's good there. Probably better than Bag of Holding. The rest of the board is pretty stock. You could, in theory, run a Singleton Wilt or a 4th Braid over the 3rd Leyline. I think that might actually be fine. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to run 4 Leyline. And like I said, you can get rid of extra Leylines with these 4 cards. Should be fine. I don't know if I want to board in Leyline versus Burn yet. I haven't decided. In theory, it should be pretty good, but I just don't know. Yeah, one of the things that I'm afraid of about this deck right now is it's really bad against Winota. And, you're just going to get pummeled. It's just how it goes. It's not a good matchup, and that deck won a PTQ recently. So, who knows? We could go 0-3 tonight against Winota. I hope not, but we're going to see how it goes. And if you're interested in more Pioneer content, you can go to theepicsforum.com/donation decks and submit your own Pioneer combo deck. Or you can submit Lotus. Just make sure it's a combo deck. We are a combo channel. If you want to see more Pioneer content, that's how you do it. There's 3 different tiers. There's a base tier where I will play your exact 75, and at the end, I'll make suggestions. The super tier, I help you refine the deck. I then play it and then provide feedback after. In the 3rd tier, you actually get to come on the channel and play the deck with me. You get to talk through your card choices. I work really closely with you on the deck. We go to that next level of deck building where we get really into the nitty gritty. We talk sideboard mapping. We get into all of it. So that's the epic tier. And you also get discounts for both the super and epic tier from theepicsforum.com/shop for all store merchandise. But that's enough for me shilling for now. I want to start playing some Pioneer. I'm really excited to play this list tonight. Welcome to round number 1. We are on the play. We're facing YuroP. Well, YuroP, I hope you're ready to get pummeled, because that's what we're doing. Look at this hand. It's so good. We're definitely keeping this. 1 scrying for Lotus, the other for Stage. We have a Brawl. We have double pour. This is really solid. I'm hoping they're not playing Winota, because then I'm going to feel foolish. Are we playing the mirror? It is better to play Brawl here because it saves you a turn. Assuming that we are playing the mirror, we can get both Lotus and we are playing the mirror. Stage next turn all in one fell swoop. Ooh. So next turn, we're looking to draw hidden strings. I don't know if that'll happen or not. But that's probably one of our better draws. We also have double pour active. Our opponent could be trying to turn 3 us right here. If they go stage into hidden strings, that's very scary. Okay. So we're gonna be able to cast 2 pours and see what our options are. Are they not trying to? Ooh. Are we dead on turn 3? Oh no. They opened up the nuts. This hand's bonkers. Like, this is quite the hand. Have to hope that they fizzle. By the looks of it, this is a dig. Okay, well, that's a dangerous number right there. Because that will give them 2 mana floating if they have Pier in hand. Four cards, what are they? Granted. They have another hidden strings? Wow. Oh, that's so brutal. Okay, we just weren't going to beat this draw. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it happens. We're not going to concede because they only have 1 hidden strings in their deck and 2 Viziers. So there's a chance that their last hidden strings is in the bottom 24, and it looks like they're passing. And for us, them being at 10 doesn't really matter, if I'm being honest. Like, they could be at 50. The difference just doesn't exist. Our best draw is still hidden strings off the top. Hidden strings would allow us to copy Lotus Field, tap their Grazer, untap this, cast Pour, I believe, attack, untap both of our lands, and then likely win the game. Also, like, I think what we saw here a little bit was why the Fae package isn't very good. So they spent 4 mana to go get a 7 mana card, and it was just so mana intensive that even with triple hidden strings and double Vizier, that they couldn't win the game. And I'm not trying to trash talk our opponent's list. I'm really not trying to do that. But I'm just saying that, like, this is one of the downsides of playing those cards. Didn't need that. Hmm. Not the best. Think we might have just lost. I guess this could hit double strings, but it's so unlikely. I guess I take planning. Wow. Oh, we had the opposite luck. I think our opponent's going to untap and kill us now. Yep. I'd be shocked if we were somehow still alive after this turn. So it's worth noting our opponent's playing the Wolf Willow Haven list, and that list doesn't play Brawl, so it's actually a little bit harder for them to go off, and it puts a lot more emphasis on things like Hidden Strings and Viziers. Right now, our opponent's actually used a bunch of those effects already, so it's not that they can't win, they just. It's a different way of winning. Their win is Jace, which I don't think is very good, just because Jace dies to removal with the ability on the stack, which is super dangerous. And instead, our opponent is just they don't need to make as much mana. So our deck needs to make more mana in order to win, typically because of approach. They're less focused on making mana and they're looking to draw more cards. So things like Narset and what is it called? Notion Thief matter a little bit more against them. And now that they're getting pretty low on cards, so another Pier and then Fae into Jace. Or not Pier, Poor. I'm sorry. That'll do too. So now they play their other Fae, go get Jason, wrap it up. Unfortunately, then this is not in a salty way. Our opponent just drew a little bit better than we did in game one, and it happens. Nothing to beat yourself up over. I like boarding in the disputes here. I think that Bergie's likely a little too slow, so those are going to be sided out. I don't think we need two win cons, so we need to decide between approach and reservoir. I think approach is probably a little bit better, just in case they board in something like Leyline. We don't have to answer it. Although reservoir is a lot cheaper. Maybe we'll try this. And guess we could try boarding out Blast Zone. I don't know if that's bad or not. It probably is. You don't really want to take out lands. It's just like everything else is so crucial. Yeah, I'm gonna board out Blast Zone. It's probably like, pun intended, blasphemy, but everything else on the deck is just too crucial. Like you really want grazers so that way you can speed up your Lotus fields. That's why our opponent was able to get ahead that game. They had turn 2 grazer, which allowed them to have turn 2 Lotus, and they were just ahead, even with our really good hand. Alright, this hand has a turn 3 Lotus. I guess we're going to keep this. It's a little bit slow. So in these sort of hands, you kind of hope that your opponent mulligans. Oh no. That Grazer was a very bad draw. I guess it wouldn't be if we drew stage. Okay, that's a good sign. Miss your land? No. Alright, well, they had a sack of stage. I like that. Alright. So our opponent could try to kill us again here. Interesting. So I can cast Pour. I think I'm going to do that. It's like kind of free. This is interesting. So I can make my own second Lotus here. I would play Balaged for my land for the turn, and then sack the land to Grazer and play another Lotus. So the question is, what are you discarding? And I think we want to keep Dispute up. So I think we actually discard Vizier. And I'm just going to pass. Like, I could strings and then try to hit here. I think that's a little greedy. I'm going to hold up Dispute with Dig. And I generally like to remove lands and green cards first. That was not that good. I guess we could take Hidden Strings and Reservoir. You could take Triome to cycle, but I don't love that play. I mean, maybe it's Triome and Hidden Strings and you just bottom the Reservoir. Oh, that was good. Pour and ooh, double Hidden Strings. So once we cast these two, our other two will be on the bottom of the deck. So that's kind of scary. All right. I don't think I'm going to cast this Scrying to shuffle. I mean, you theoretically could. I just don't think it's going to happen. Okay. Do I want the Brawl? Probably not. I think at this point we're just worried about going through our deck. Okay, this is going to be cake now. Convert these into real cards. We might as well keep the Balgat around, I think. I want to keep the red mana floating. Alright, so probably take the Reservoir here. Or do I want the Valakut Awakening? Because I know that I have, like, 2 digs coming up, or 2 hidden strings coming up. And then I can Balagad Recovery back the Reservoir. Alright. Ah, did I just mess that up? So I can dig. I don't even know how many spells I've played. But I imagine that 3 will do it. There we go. Okay, we took game number 2. I'm just going to resubmit. Mystical Dispute was huge there. Yeah, I mean, this is, once again, a little bit slow, but it has Lotus. Opponent is mulliganed. Plan right now is to go Botanical Sanctum into strategic planning next turn. We are looking for Mystical Dispute. Scrying or Grazer? That's a really tough decision. I don't know which one's right. So you can take the Grazer and then play Catcher Triome and then play Grazer and leave up blue, but without dispute, what's the point? And they have their Haven. Four cards in hand. We could be looking at death here if they're all bananas. It's step one. It's weird that they did that pre. So they probably had hidden strings already. No. Well, that was good for us. That was one of our best draws. That was actually our best draw. I take that back. Looks like they have their own. That's a bummer. I mean, can't be upset. We did that to them in game 2. We have to hope that they don't have the cards to kill us. Come on, 5 lands. So if they have Fae in their hand right now, they could Fae and then go get Pier. But they wouldn't have any mana floating. It's just like Fae's so clunky and expensive, especially when you're not running Brawl. I don't know if they have any other good targets for Fae or not. And there's Fae, or, well, granted. Thought Distortion is a good one, so that's going to cripple us here. So it's going to leave us with just the Catcher Triome. That was pretty brutal. And now they can play the Fae of Wishes. Alright. That was a lucky draw. Into garbage. I doubt we're going to get to untap, but maybe. Okay, so now they have 4 mana, 6 mana. What are they getting? Pier? Peer into the Abyss, yep. Yikes, so we're likely dead next turn. They are representing 9 mana, which is exactly enough to peer into Hidden Strings. Come on, Doc. Give me a dig right here. It's not good enough. We can go get another Ketria Triome and pray, but it's just not looking good. Yep, we just lost. The only thing I can think of is bluffing Mystical Dispute on the pier. To make them think that we have it, and that's why we untapped our lands right there. And it looks like they're choosing to respect dispute. We have a lot of good draws still in our deck. We have Valakut Awakening. We've seen very few digs so far. I guess we have 2 digs left. All right, so they have Fae and Pier in hand. They got another Peer into the Abyss. Deck hates me. Well, they drew the land. Where's Toast? We had a few opportunities after the Thought Distortion to win, and we just didn't hit. Yep. Alright, I'm going to save us a little bit of time, and I'm just going to concede here. We're dead. No point in dragging this out any further. That also, so we would have drawn Poor, which would have been great, but into no runners. So to start off this league, we're 0-1, but I mean, that was a pretty good match regardless. Okay, we are back for round number 2, and we're on the play. This seems fine. I like this. Probably need to play out the first Valakut Awakening as a land, and then we can cast the other one later. Or discard it to Bergie, either or. We just need another land in place, so that way you have 2 lands to sacrifice to Lotus, and then stage. Alright, looks like our opponent's playing Niv. Trying to do a better job of sitting up straight. Alright, what does Indian Pancake, our opponent, have for us? One of the one of the more beautiful things, I guess, talking is very difficult, just forgive me already, about Bielzito Awakening, is that it is a land, so by playing it, we're increasing the land count in our deck for specific... Oh, they're going to get our Bergie here. That sucks. But it matters for lands for Lotus, so it's going to reduce your mulligan rate, which is just really nice. Okay, I was wondering if the front half was artifact or creature, or if it was just the back that hit artifacts. And there's Niv. Puts the only card which was Bring to Light to their hand. So we're going to try to party. That is a good card to start the party. Okay. So we could cast Approach here. My concern is that it's gonna need to hit another strings off of the dig to win, but maybe that's worth it. And we got lucky. In theory, a Poor could have done it as well. Alright, we took game number 1 over Niv. Alright, so you can board in ley lines here because it stops Unmourned Ego and stuff like that. Last time I checked Goldfish, I have it up over here already, I wasn't seeing a lot of those effects anymore. Yeah, like the last list up here just sideboards into like 2 Thoughtseize. Like that's their plan. I don't know what list our opponent's playing, but yeah, this one doesn't have anything either. So I don't think we're supposed to board that stuff in until we see it. Also, for a hot second, there was a bunch of lists last time I played Pioneer that were all running Sphere in the board, and it looks like Spheres also died off. So I think what you could do is just board in Dispute. I don't really love Grazer in this matchup. And then I guess we can board 1 Niv. Let's try this out. And if you would like to support this content, theepicstorm.com/shop, but specifically the token pack. For $12, you get 54 Storm tokens. It's great value. You get 54 Goblin tokens on the back. Make sure you check that out. Okay, so once again, we have a pretty solid hand here. We're going to keep this. Our opponent is mulliganed. Pretend that we have some sort of interaction on turn 2. nothing. Let's get in there. We can attempt to Veilcut Awakening on there and stuff if we want. That was pretty good. If I had known I was going to draw a Thespian stage, I would have bought him the other field. Um, but I wanted a backup plan in case we just didn't find anything. Our opponent could have Mystical Dispute here, but I'm still going to try to cast Dig. Alright, so that's likely going to clear the door for these pores next turn. Ooh. Bold move, Captain. It'd be a shame if someone created a storm. I don't know where I was going with that joke. It was bad. Alright, well that should do it. Easy peasy. Get back, dig. And boom. How about that? 1-1 already. Keep. Hand solid. We have a way to find Lotus. We have Stage. We have Brawl. A couple untappers. It's beautiful. Alright. I would like one more land off the top, though. Oh, we're facing the blue-red version of our deck. The mirror again. I actually like this version quite a bit. The problem is that it has a tougher time finding Lotus. But once you're mid-combo, you just never fizzle, which is really nice. And when you have cards like Veilcut and Bergie, you're more likely to, excuse me, be able to exchange dead cards for live ones. And I think there's a reasonable chance that we try to win the game next turn. Ooh, they might not be playing our deck if they're playing Magma Spray. Because I wouldn't play that card. Poor Brawl. Magma Spray is such a weird card. Maybe they're playing those over the ops. But we're now on the back foot. Wow, what a draw. Brawl and play would have made this a lot easier, though. All right, our storm is now 1. I think we're just gonna dig. Okay. So right now I can Reservoir, Balagad. I think we're supposed to play Reservoir here. This is also not one of the nice things about Reservoir. It's like just a really cheap win condition. I think I'm supposed to play the planning. I want to float a red here so that way I still have blue for dig. And that'll do, pig. All right. That time we won the mirror over the blue-red version of our deck with Magma Spray. I'm not a big fan of that change, but they're allowed to do whatever they'd like. Dispute's probably pretty good. I think I like what we did last time. Boarding out the approach. We can board out Blast Zone. And then Berkey. Did I like that? I'm not sure. It's probably right. Who am I kidding? Let's try this. Yeah. They've mulliganed to 5. Another Lotus was a little bit awkward. We have Dispute up now, which is why I played Ketria on turn 1 over the Stoneforge. So that way this turn I can counter a Baral or a Cantrip. I think I might actually cycle Ketria next turn. Okay, no Lotus yet. That's good. Our opponent could play Horn right now or Pour. So I really liked the idea of the blue-red list, and like I'm not just blowing smoke. I did. The problem was I realized when I was playing it that like the red cards are so good that they make some of the non-red cards better, like grazers and stuff, just because you can actually convert them into real magic cards. So I don't know if I'd go back to this list personally, but I'm glad some people are trying it out. Um, they could have a dispute here. Maybe I should quit saying that because it's happened both times now. All right, they have a bunch of mana and we're tapped out. And they found Lotus. Come on, dig. Oh, yikes. I think I'm taking double Vizier here. Uh, they could have been a Bergie, hypothetically. I think I'm just going to pass. Or Bergie, however you'd like to pronounce it. 33% odds of that being true. Maybe it's my own fault that we ended up short on action because I played the dig into dispute earlier on. So if this resolves, I get to loot off Brawl. Alright, we need an action spell. Looks like they're going for it. What is their last card? This is where the blue-red list is a little bit better. All of your cards do things unless you put Magma Spray into your deck. But they're like so likely, they're very likely to keep on chaining spells here. This is where blue-red really shines. Where we have stuff like Sylvan Scrying that I don't want to be drawing. Did they fizzle? Come on, miss. It's so unlikely. Well, they got rid of Bergie. So that means whatever they kept was pretty good planning. Okay. This is a dig. Kind of hoping they're going to respect dispute still, even though I don't think that they should. We've already used 2 of our 3. We just need to be able to untap. Get another look. Okay. Alright, so this one also could have been 33%. So we would have drawn Bergie at some point this game. Yeah, and this is a situation where the extra scrying is just really bad. Killing me. Infinite mana, nothing to do with it. That's an approach. Here's a dig. So they're giving us 1 turn. No point in casting Dispute here because they can just pay 3 mana. So if they cast something else here, I will Dispute. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do it. So I can't remember if it's the first or second one you need to counter, and I don't want to take the chance on being wrong. I could Google it. I'm just not going to. Am I supposed to get rid of all 3 here? It's so risky. We have a ton of mana, though. Really, really risky putting strings on the bottom. Okay. So I have 8 mana. I can go Reservoir. All right. I just want to make sure I'm planning this correctly. Reservoir, Balaged, strings. Yeah, we can do this. And we're going to cipher this because it counts as an extra spell. There is a pour in there. All right, and we've got it at this point. Okay, and our opponent's going to concede. We're now 2-1. We've played the mirror twice in 3 rounds. How crazy is that? Okay, round number 4. Lurrus of the Dream Den. That means that this is likely an aggro deck. Is this a keep? I don't know. We rip Lotus, it's pretty good. For science. Alright, so it's the Aura's deck. A little bit better for us than Mono Red. So right now we have turn 2 strategic planning off of Sanctum. You want to hold Thespian Stage in case you do find Lotus. And no Aura play is actually really good for us there. Alright, change of plans. We're playing Brawl. Brawl will allow us to play double planning next turn, which is just much better than casting planning on turn 2. And I don't believe that this deck even plays removal in the main. That was bad. Alright, well, we found Lotus. That's good. Right now we can't do a whole lot with it on turn 2 yet. We're looking to draw hidden strings most likely. Seven, 10, 11 damage right now. 12. Okay. Hidden strings. The 4th dig. Okay, so maybe if we hit double strings off dig, we stand a shot. Any chance we had, I think, just died. Once again, I am asking you for double hidden strings. Come on. Okay, we're actually dead now. 0 outs. Okay. So, in previous lists, I would have Wilt here. Wilt is actually a great card to board in. I don't love boarding in a Braid. You could board in Leyline here because they board in a few Thoughtseize. I don't think that's really what you want to be doing. I think we're just going to hit submit again. I mean, the Leylines are specifically for heavier base black decks. Like, Black White Auras, they play 4 copies of Thoughtseize, if that. This seems okay. And so far tonight, we have not been burned by Bark Channel, which is kind of nice. So there's no damage off Yavimaya Coast. Playing Balget on turn 1, so that way we can play, this is a blue source on turn 2, and 2 Sylvan Scrying. Keep that around. Not playing the Sanctum because we're going to sacrifice those lands to field. You'd rather have Sanctum untapped on turn 5. Our turn is probably going to be strategic planning field. Or we could draw Brawl. See what happens this turn before we make any big decisions. Alright, so they're representing lethal now. Okay, so I think the best thing to do here is we're going to tap this and untap Lotus Field. And then we're going to cipher this onto Brawl, so that way we can use Brawl for more mana. We're going to double planning here. I don't think we can afford to take Reservoir. Maybe we can. So hidden strings, strategic planning, reservoir would be 3. Planning 4. It's gonna gain like 10 life. That's not worth it. That was not very good. Really needed like a pour. As of right now, we're about to bail get back a strategic planning, so a dig or a pour would be amazing here. Yikes. So we could get Reservoir, but it's still just not good enough, I don't think. Can we do it? Double pour is better for mana purposes, but I don't want to draw just a bunch of blanks and lose the game, which is something that could happen. Like if this happened twice in a row, for example. Like, what if these top three were the second pour? Like, I think that the dig was just slightly safer. Oop, I should float mana here. No reason not to do that. Ding! There we go. Okay. And I'm going to keep one of these veil cuts around, just in case the entire draw 7's a little stinky. Or, I'm sorry, draw 6. So now let's get back the Reservoir. I like that it's just more mana efficient. Like, you could have taken the approach, but I just knew that this was going to be faster. I didn't need to get lucky with hitting one of the last hidden strings, nothing like that. Alright, so we took game number 1 from Black White Auras. I'm sorry, that was game number 2. It's been a long day. Please forgive me. I've said that like 4 times in this video, but just give me your sympathy for being alive. I don't know. Enough being sarcastic and dry. We're going into game 3. I didn't really see a reason to switch anything we've done. The main deck is just so tuned at this point that I think the only area for improvement is really in the board. And that's why we're just trying things out like Leyline to see if you can gain a little bit of an edge anywhere. This hand could be really good, assuming that you draw land number 2. That isn't field. It's a little risky. Hoping that we can do it. Oh, that hurts. They're down to 4 cards. I think maybe we just hope that they have a slow draw and that we can draw out of this. I think the take here is probably Baral. Yeah, and our opponent agrees. Even if I didn't draw the planning, I would have played this as a blue source because of Vizier. Oh no. Okay. So I think next turn is going to be interesting, depending... Okay, well, now they have a really fast clock. We could be dead. I was going to say we could play Vizier as a way of having a pseudo stage, but now I think we might just need to play it as a blocker. And if we need to block, I think we actually just lose. Yep, we just lost. I guess we could draw Blast Zone. That's our one out here. Nope. I could try to Velka into exactly Grazer. So the Botanical Sanctum is an untapped green source, which I think is a reason to keep it in hand. But if we're also down 3 bark channels. Yeah. And we didn't hit. So we are dead. Missing that second land drop got us. Alright, we're 2-2. The final round, we're on the draw. I have no clue what our opponent's playing. I think you're supposed to ship these hands. It's not much better. Okay, that was a terrific draw. My plan next turn was to play Balagad Stage. I don't know if that's changed or not. Probably Niv. Alright, so it's still better here to go Grazer Stage, because if you just go Stage, I guess you end up in the same spot anyway. So I guess this is slightly, like, here this could be discarded. But I sort of doubt they're going to have a hand disruption spell. Like, that's very unlikely. Okay. Something to consider is I was just thinking about our board mapping against the mirror. Maybe this board only wants 2 Mystical Dispute. Um, if you're boarding out something that's good like Burgi. I don't even know what that card does. That's pretty powerful. And I can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to copy my Lotus and pass. Yeah, you get that free self-inherited. So, just a thought. Maybe we only want 2 Mystical Dispute. Which would actually line up with boarding against control decks, because then you would just go 2 Dispute, 2 Niv. So we can play Burgi. Or Horn, I mean, I'm sorry. We need to hit Hidden Strings. You cannot cycle with Vizier, just a heads up. That was a bad 2 reveals. I mean, if we find strings, I like the pour, but we have to find strings. Jeez. Really? Just nothing? Wow. Halfway through our deck, no strings. Ultra punished. Oh, that's so disappointing. Wow. Maybe I was supposed to take a land there just to discard a Horn instead of discarding a Brawl. That's a mistake on my part, most likely. And I think that they were supposed to exile Approach with this Clothis. They didn't exile the Horn either. Wow. Alright, so it's free to cycle the Vizier. Okay, that's something. So we can search our deck for land and then discard it to Horn. No dice. Discard of strings, I suppose. Down to 14 cards. I don't know how many Bailgeds we have left. So there's 2, 3. So it looks like we have 1. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be trying to win via Reservoir or not. Maybe I shouldn't play Vizier yet. Let's just cast Dig. Playing Vizier shuts me off of other options, and I'd rather just keep myself open for a little bit longer. I don't know why I untapped the Triumph. I thought it was a Lotus. No good real reason there. But now we can play Vizier. Alright, by the skin of our teeth, 1 card in hand, 1 card in deck. Alright, so do I want to change anything? Could try this. In general, I don't love Niv against this deck, though. At least Mystical Dispute counters Bring to Lights. But if we only ran 2 Mystical Dispute, I wouldn't be against boarding in the other Niv. I just think that the Dispute's slightly better than second Niv here. I'm just like trying to think of ways that we can optimize the deck a little bit. And it's unfortunate that we didn't face any matchups where Leyline was relevant. And I feel like sometimes people put a little bit too much stock into that. They're like, well, you didn't use this card, you should cut it. It's a single league, which is a really small sample size in the grand scheme of things. I don't start to look at that sort of thing until many more matches, especially when I'm playing TS where I can track and see the data. I don't track Pioneer, but you know, you get a better idea when you've played more than a single league. This hand is okay. I like that you can cast Veil Cut later on to help find Lotus, so I think that's worth keeping. And I won't lie, after this match is done, the first thing I'm going to do is go get some ibuprofen for this awful back. That was a good draw, because I was going to play Veil Cut, and now I just have a red source already. Gets Island. No play. It could be Notion Thief the way that they're setting it up. No Thief. They have something. Maybe like a Dovin's Veto. Still no Lotus. Sorry about that. Hitting puberty. You know how it is. I think I did strategic planning here. And there's Dovins. They had mana for Brain Delight last turn, did not play it. We'll see if they cast it now that they've tapped for Dovin's Veto. This looks like it. Niv. Let's see what it says in the log. Nahiri, Deathspark, K-Command, Quathis, and Bring to Light. Essentially refilled their hand. And there's our Lotus. Can we do anything? So I could Hidden Strings into Pour. I don't think it's very likely to win. I think I'm just going to copy and pass. See what they can get with their Bring to Light that kills me. Yep. What is the baddest thing you have? Okay, Disperse an instant. That's what I was checking. So they can use it to exile Reservoir. That said, we can still very easily win with Approach. Notion Thief is kind of a pain, admittedly. Dig was a good draw. We can still use Pour to make mana if we need to. Just throwing that out there. I don't know, like, I think I have to get a Blast Zone and like kill that thing. I'm not really sure what my other options are. Probably shouldn't take Brawl. Alright, so as of right now, on their end step, I can put Blast Zone up to 4, untap, blow it up, and then have exactly 5 mana for Pour into the pages. They have K Command, so if they're smart, they'll leave up K Command into Notion Thief. And they didn't do it. Giving me a small window here. When you need to be pretty lucky. That was a Terrific draw. They have 2 unknowns. Ugh. That's brutal. And that just got me. Okay. Not a big deal. So what we're going to do for the third game is I'm going to board in some Abrade. Some number, that is. I don't know how many yet. Probably take out this Niv Mizzet. Maybe shave a Dispute. Try that out. No, not like this. Not to end the night. So if we draw like an untapped land, we can play Scrying on turn 2, which is the reason to lead off on Ketria Triumph. Okay. So now we can just go get stage. We're actually in this. Alright, no targets. Okay. In theory, we could try to go for it right now. I think it's just really, really risky. The risk associated with my line is that we know that our opponent has a Notion Thief in their deck. So if they have it in response to Pour, it's obviously a blowout. But if they had Mystical Dispute there, we would look really dumb. Dispute's not super common in these decks, but like it does exist sometimes. So I think it's just better to play around it. That and like winning off a single Pour is such a tough ask where I think I just rather play a little bit slower and then we have more going on. Or like we're way more likely to win if we just untap. Okay, so now we have a really good window to win. Ding, 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 ding. We're off to the races. think I actually take the reservoir here. We're going to need 7 mana to do the line that I want to do. And that's 8, so this works. Now we go get Hidden Strings. Maybe I shouldn't exile Pour. We can Mystical Dispute our own spell if it comes down to it. And look at that. Mulligan to 5. We're killing our opponent on turn 5. And we're just seeing like how nice it is having Reservoir be a 4-mana win con. Alright, so we got a pretty average 3-2. To close out the league, or in this video, let's look at the list once again. Bergie came up once, and unfortunately it did not look that impressive. I still think it's better than the third Brawl. You're welcome to disagree. I think that the value in having an engine piece like that's pretty good. Third Mystical Dispute, maybe that comes out. I don't know what I would add. That's the issue. Like, I don't know what I would actually play here instead. It could be a Wilt. I don't know if I'd want 4 answers like a Braid, but maybe. Yeah, it's just tough to say. If you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment in the section below. I love answering that stuff. I love reading them. It gives me a lot of ideas. So I definitely read every single comment left. So make sure to leave one if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or just you appreciate this video. But I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy your day. Take care. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.